This is from poet Kirk Nugent.
You pollute the earth with your political wars. Now you have your satellite pointed at the stars with the hope of exploring Mars, but just who do you think you are? And what if you went to Mars and saw Martians but they didn't speak your language? Would you call them savages and rob them of their heritage, commit them to a life of bondage and use their bodies as experiment for syphilis? Would you give them facilities that were separate but equal and encourage them not to fuss? Would you seat the green Martians at the back of the Martian bus? Upon your arrival, would the Martian realize their greatest fears? Would you march them all across Mars on a trail of tears? Would you lynch the male Martians, the ones you couldn't tame, whip the green Martians and change their names? Or would you exploit them just for the sake of greed? Would it be a crime for a Martian to teach another Martian how to read? Would you abuse them for generations, over a matter of time? Would you make the color green synonymous with crime? See, I know you would degrade them. It doesn't take a genius to go figure. You probably start by saying they look like little green niggas. Would you treat them as livestock and raise the male to become breeders? Would you orchestrate the massacre of their Martian leaders? And what if there were a Martian king and a Martian ex? After you murder them, who would you slaughter next? In the middle of the night, would your clansmen cut their throats? Would they have to march for generations just for the right to vote? And when you write your history books, what would be your version? Would you see the Martians as 3/5 of a person? How many Martians would get a broken neck as your officers went out to serve and protect their neighborhoods? Would your bankers redline, set an interest rate to bleed out every dime? And please keep in mind that it will only be a matter of time before you establish a Martian school to prison pipeline. And when your cops murder them in the street and make sure that their brain matter splatter, would you be able to hear them when they peacefully try to convince you that green lives matter? Would you set up a system to brainwash them in everything that they do? Would you create a God for them to worship who look just like you? And after you forcefully grab their land, would you tell them this ain't no longer Mars. This right here is a part of Earth. Shit, my grandfather been living here since birth and it was his toil that made this land now what it's worth. And when the Martians try to sneak through your fences, seeking food to feed their faces, better opportunities for their babies, would you lock them in cages, telling them that this is about law and order? You green niggas need to start respecting our borders. And after you rape Mars for every natural resource, next, would you send in your usual suspects? First, the IMF to make sure that they're deep in debt. Next, the CIA to get that destabilization program in full effect. Vaccines laced with mercury to ensure birth defects. Military occupation to keep them in check. Ensure the entire planet becomes an economic train wreck, but do it gradually, so the average Martian doesn't even understand it. So damn it, little Martian Janet can't even comprehend it, that the destruction of her planet, the CIA ran it. Then would you say Mars? Just another shithole planet? See, I'm asking because I know what your so-called explorations are worth. Upon your arrival, you wipe cultures off the earth. So if you set foot on Mars, the Martians will probably pray for death at birth. So for the love of God, keep your ass on earth.